Hello and welcome to this new video on my new channel, Jim Driver Writes. All my writing videos will be appearing here from now on, so please subscribe and like if you like it. So who am I to talk about writing? Well, I'm a published writer. I've been doing it for quite a long time. I run my own publishing company. I've been an editor. I've been all sorts of things in the literary and publishing world. And I've recently been writing scores, I suppose, of ebooks and my own name and nom de plumes. And some of them have been very successful. Check me out on Google. Check me out on Amazon. So that's out of the way. So without further ado, let's get straight on to the topic in hand. How to write a non-fiction book for beginners. Right, the first thing you need to do is work out what type of non-fiction book you're going to write. You probably already know that because that's why you're here. But if you don't, I suggest you write about something that you know. Because people like the author to have some authority, because there's lots of books out there, so you would tend to choose the one by the person you think knows the most. But of course, there's more to it than that. For example, if you're writing a book about how to direct movies and you've never directed a movie, then people may think, hang on, this may not be very good. But if you write a book, say, how the great directors write movies, you don't have to be a director yourself. Because a movie critic or an amateur critic could write a book, how the great movie directors direct, or whatever. But I do suggest you write about things you know about. Otherwise, you may find it very much harder than it need be. So, having decided that, you might be a school teacher, you might be somebody who's interested in a certain subject. For example, you might be interested in the American Civil War, or you may be interested in collecting old coins, or whatever. So, use your knowledge to your advantage. So, the first thing after you've worked out what you're going to write is who you're going to write it for. Is the person you're writing for an expert or a beginner? Do you know more than they do, or do they know more than you do? If they know more than you do, you've probably got a few problems. But generally speaking, you can do your research, and so no matter who you're writing for, you need to know who that is, what level of expertise you're pitching it at. So, are you writing for children? Are you writing for adults? Work out who you're writing it for. So everything that you write is going to be aimed at that particular person. Then, there are various types of non-fiction, obviously. You might be writing a biography of somebody, you might write about your life, but generally most non-fiction books, well, ebooks these days, are answering specific questions. How do I grow cacti? How do I edit a video in Premiere Pro? How do I cook authentic Italian pasta? How do I edit photographs in Photoshop? How do I cook vegetarian curry? Etc., etc., etc. There's lots of questions out there, so I suggest that you find out what title you're going to use. Just use a working title, but your title should be what the book is about. So, for example, if you're writing a book on answering a question, base your title on answering that particular question. For example, how to cook Italian pasta is a very boring title. You need to hone that down, but you might want to be more specific than that. That's a general huge thing, and you could probably write several books about the various types of it. For example, you don't have to do everything in one book. You don't have to write a 1,000-page book. You can write 10 100-page books, because this day and age, ebooks tend to be shorter than in the old days. You would go into a bookshop and you would want to buy, because it's like an effort of going all the way to a bookshop, you want to buy a book that probably contains more information than you need. But in this day and age, the internet and everything, you do a search for what you want to know. And because of that, you charge less. You're not charging $100 for an encyclopedia. You're charging maybe £2 or £3 or dollars to answer a specific question. 10 Italian pasta recipes, or 10 authentic Italian pasta recipes, or 10 ways to make Photoshop work for you. Something like that. So you want your title and you want it to answer the specific question. Go to Google, go to Amazon, do a search, see what people are searching for. We'll go into that deeper in another video, but if you have your title, you need to have a title that people want to read. So find something that people already want to know about. Nobody, for example, wants to know what the top 5 Roman coins. Maybe they do, I don't know. But if you're doing a book about the top 5 Roman coins, you've got to know exactly what you're talking about, and you've got to have a market for it. Ideally, you want to write about what people want to read. So if you check in Google, see what people are searching for within your subject, start with a general phrase. For example, this book here is writing non-fiction. So you start with the general phrase, writing non-fiction, go to YouTube, go to Google, type it in, you'll see that Google and YouTube give you various suggestions of what people are searching for. So you can use that to get your title. So you need a specific title which answers a particular question, I would recommend. So having worked that out, you then need to do a bit of thinking. This is what my book's going to be about. This is the title. What do I need to put in that book? So just spend maybe an hour, half an hour perhaps, writing down everything you think that you may have to include in that book to answer the question in the title, or the implicit question in the title. If you're writing a book about the American Civil War, it's slightly easier because you want to decide how to structure the book. Are you going to do it chronologically? Or are you going to do it by battles, political movement? Whatever. So you need to work out how you're going to structure it. Once you've got all your topics you wanted to write about, you then have to structure them. So put them in a logical order. Take out anything that's not necessary to answer the question in your title. And then at the end of it, you should have a very good table of contents, or a very good list which you could use as a table of contents. So you'll probably have maybe 5, maybe 10, maybe 20 topics, depending on the complexity of your subject. And then just basically write it. Write what you've done. As you're writing, you will probably find, because I do, that you need to include something else or take something out. I mean, what you might want to do, you might want to outline it first in more detail, so give yourself an idea. So when you come to write it, you just go zap, zap, zap. That's how I write fiction. It's not necessarily how I write non-fiction, because I like to explore it more. And I find that if I just start to write based on my table of contents, I think of other things along the way. So I add to it, take things out, put things in, and then at the end of it, you have got an ebook you could be proud of. Thank you for watching, and if you liked it, please like it down below. Please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and then I hope to see you next time. Thank you. Goodbye.